traveling and having that independence to be, I guess, have choice and not have to think about that stress that I know that we have in the past with money and things like that. So it is definitely just being surrounded by family, traveling, exploring and being adventurous with new things and being happy and living this healthy lifestyle that we are. So I feel like where we're at right now with a few tweaks to come is kind of what my vision is for the foreseeable future until I'm in that next stage of life with my girls and grandkids.
Wow. Yeah. And Mandy, that's really powerful. If you don't mind sharing, where were you 3 years ago when you were like, because we've talked about this before, right? And you've actually manifested it in the last 3 years. Where were you 3 years ago?
Insane, Rory. Brings up a little bit of emotion in me of late, just for the pure gratitude that I do hold for so many things that have gone on in those 3 years. So 3 years ago, we were in a conventional bricks and mortar business, very stressed with the runnings of that and the money that was held up in that. Was very much a financial stressed situation. I probably wasn't living my healthiest life. We were definitely trying to, work out and do that sort of stuff. But we were probably also in a very big party phase of our life 3 years ago too. Prior to that, maybe a couple more years before that. We had a big mortgage. We were living sort of that week to week sort of lifestyle. And even though my desire was to travel, it was very much I was doing that through work at the time, but it was very much a desire to be able to do that at the drop of a hat when I chose with my family, and it was restricted. So it all came down to money and being stuck in a conventional business, really.
Yep. And the thing is like, and the beauty about this, guys, is Mandy, you've made some tough decisions. Like you've left your job, right? You've stepped into self-development. You've enrolled your family in on a vision. And this is so important, guys, about this vision, because it's not just enrolling yourself on the vision. It's enrolling your family. It's enrolling your friends. It's enrolling everyone around you, right? And that's something, Mandy, that I'm for me, like watching you, I'm sure Tal and Ellie and everyone else who's been watching is just so inspired by you, like just to see that you can do it from anywhere at any time. And also you can do it with a family and 3 kids and you've just got such a cool support space. So just wanted to give you some kudos.
Thank you, darling. It's feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thanks for sharing. I'm going to come back, and the next thing as well is like ideal day is cool, right? But it's like, has anyone asked you what your ideal lifestyle could be? Like, again, blank canvas, like just take some notes down. Like there's the day I told my parents that I was going to move to Bali, they thought I was crazy, and I thought I was going over for a week and I was going to be back very soon. And even my friends, they're like, okay, we'll see you in like 2 months. I'm like, no, I'm like moving over there. And like, because their map of reality just could not comprehend that was a possibility. So there was like this natural thing. You're right. So you're going to get, when you cast your vision and when you get really clear on where you want to go and how you want to do it, and I'll show you how this connects into the opportunity in a second. But when you get super clear on this, you start making different decisions and you start to enroll people in on that. And the beauty about it is a lot of people aren't going to believe you, which means that you're going to have to be strong enough to hold your vision regardless. And you're going to have to work for it. And you're going to have to, find some emotional reasons to bring this to life. And Tal, I think you might be a good one for this, man, if you want to take yourself off mute, because I know that you've manifested a fiance, a house down in Yelling Up, and pretty much everything you have up until this point, man. So do you want to share a little bit about, what you did in this space about really envisioning your ideal lifestyle?
It's like similar to yourself. I just kept like holding the vision and focusing on feelings. Like I've definitely done a lot of like visualization and mapped things out and done a vision board and all that stuff. But the stuff that's really worked for me is focusing on how I want to feel. How do I want to feel in my relationship? How do I want to feel in my lifestyle? How do I want to feel? Like that has been the most powerful thing for me. And then that doing the work to translate into then what do I need to do to then feel this way. And that's how, I guess, kind of like what you're talking about, going from vision to action. It's like, okay, well, to feel that way, then I need to not be working 50 hours a week as a physio. That's the first step. And so it's like, and it's been a very gradual process. And I think the biggest thing for me is why I've been, I guess, successful in doing what I've been able to do is I've had patience. I see like a lot of people burn out. They do it for 2 months, 3 months, do it for 6 months, and it doesn't manifest. And they're like, oh, it doesn't work. I'll try something else. And then 6 months later, they try something else. And then 6 months later, they try something else. And it's like, actually have the patience and persist and give it the time it actually deserves. Just knowing that it's the internal work. We think we're going to find a better way. And it's like, there are better ways. Like, this is a much better way than working as a physio. But once you've found that thing, and for most people, like I've done a lot of searching as well. That's another thing I'll say. And there are very few vehicles as powerful as Isogenics to actually go from manifestation into reality. And I'm sure Ellie could share on that as well. She has explored a lot of different stuff, and ice has been a staple in her life for that same reason. So I guess to summarize all of that is focus on the feeling, because it can look differently. Like, did I ever actually visualize this house? Like, no. Like, but does it feel how I wanted my lifestyle to feel? Yes. So that's what worked for me.
Yeah, and that's awesome, man. And I know you've had moments where, like, as example, and if it's okay if I share this, but you know, we've had chats like, "Oh, do I go back to physio?" But then when you come back to the vision, right? What do you say?
Well, it's just not a step towards it. Do you know what I mean? It's like some early days it was, and I see people jump too early. Like, oh, I found this thing, I'm going to quit my job and leave and do it full time. And it's like, that's not a fucking good idea. Like, build this as your side hustle. But it's like, I got to the point where I had enough leverage in my business where going back to that would have been a step back, not a step forwards. But initially, it's like that first 18 months, I was still working for about 18 months while I was building this. And that's the cool thing, is you can have that thing on the side as well.
And the cool thing about that, Tal, is like the clarity of vision meant that you knew the difference between a step forward and a step back. And this is the reason why I really want to take the time, like with this new group, to cast the vision for yourselves, is because if you don't have a clear vision and you don't know where you're going, like even if it's in like you're a lighthouse, right? Imagine this lighthouse is like shooting off in every direction. And then all of a sudden you choose to point it in one direction, and it's like pointing like over there. Now there's like 4 or 5 degrees of, you know, variance along the way, but at least you know you're going in that direction. You're not going that way. You're not going south. You know you're heading north, right? You've got your true north, and that's where you're going. What it looks like along that path, God knows, right? There's probably going to be a lot of pivots, a lot of pirouettes, and, you know, a lot of patience and slowing down and speeding up. But at least you know you're heading in that direction. And I think that's really powerful about what Tal shared, is like he had an option to go back to comfort, which was to go south or to go east or to go west, but that wasn't a step in the right direction for him. And so he had to really sit back with that. And I know the internal work goes, well, okay, where am I heading? Vision, you know, like future focus. And then it goes, okay, vision, there's my values. Does it align with that? And there's context, like, shit, I need money. And then there's like, okay, you know, feelings and other stuff, right? So all this stuff goes on when we make decisions. So having a really clear vision of like your ideal day, your ideal lifestyle, what it feels like. Tully really touched on that, what it feels like, not just the tangibility of it. Like, yes, my vision board had a little villa in Bali, but it's like for me to be able to wake up. And I remember sitting there and going, like, waking up when I felt like waking up as the sun comes up, going for a surf, sitting at a cafe, having food, running through my daily rituals, and then working on passion projects and helping people I actually cared about. Like, that was a feeling. I didn't know it would be the Peloton Cafe. I didn't know it would be that, but I just knew that how it would feel, right? So just wanted to really touch on that. Thanks again, Tal, for sharing, because that's epic.
No worries.
Now, what I want you to do is actually write this down in the chat box. Like, I want you to get, like, and this is a vulnerability. You guys can be as comfortable or as uncomfortable as you want, but I want you to write 5 things down that are actually stopping you from living that ideal lifestyle. Like 5 things. So is it, you got a job? You know, I know the thing that was stopping me is I felt emotionally connected to my job. I felt like I had to finish that off, and I did have to honor what I'd started, and that was something. So I finished off working as a physio for 6 months. I felt obligated to support my mum and my family, but then I surrendered to the fact that I couldn't save her. So that was huge, and tell them those we've worked through a lot with that, trying to serve and help everyone else. And just contextually, like society didn't give me permission, so I had to create my own permission slip. So, you know, these things are really holding me back. So if I just quickly jump, I can see the chat boxes going off. So we've got some crew sharing. So number one from Jamie is no job, no money to invest. Yep. Currently what's stopping Tully is me stepping into the next 5-year vision of is cash flow and money. Yeah, it's a big one, dude. I think you're there's a concept of potential energy. You've got so much potential just to like, and you could be anyone, man. I wouldn't be surprised if DeMartini's asking for your autograph very soon. Fib and Laura, long hours at my full-time work. So, and this is the thing, right? Because we've got time. So I was putting 80 hours into a job that was paying me the same amount. When I actually cut it back to 30 hours, I was earning roughly the same amount, plus minus $100, but I had 50 hours time each week, right? So just be mindful of how you're valuing your worth and your time. Ellie's, my biggest is guilt that I'm out earning my parents, and the inconsistency that births from that guilt. And that's crazy. Imagine if you thought of the concept like that you could serve from a place of overflow and just circulate that energy back to them. And I do something with my mum. I call it life repay. And she would never take money from me or anything like that. But as soon as I started anything I did for her, I said, hey, Mum, I'm just repaying the life you gave me. Whether it's time, it's money, it's energy. I'm going to get her a car in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to put it under my company because she can't accept it as being hers. But I just talk about it as circular energy. So I don't know if that helps, Ellie, but that could be a concept that you could utilize. Trudy, my job, fear of abundance. Whoa, big one. Fear that I'm not knowledgeable enough to share my gifts. The beauty about that is you've got Tal, Ellie, and myself and Mandy and stuff here. So leverage us. If you don't feel knowledgeable enough, but you're good at connecting, just connect them in with us. And with your job, just keep going for now until, you know, all of a sudden you start to create a bit of abundance that takes over. You know, you can free a day of your week, maybe 2 days of your week, 3 days of your week. And then through action, you'll start to, I think, be worthy of that receptivity, because I definitely had the same problem at the beginning. Jamie is juggling transitional life. Yep, that's cool. But again, clarity of vision, you start making some tough decisions. Lack of knowledge on the subject. Okay, that's cool. There's, you know, you got 12-month apprenticeship. You can always upskill yourself. I went down and deep for 12 months to really learn this, but kept it simple. That was, you know, I just leveraged her early days. I didn't have to know everything. Jamie, relationships, haven't met people yet. Dude, you have the biggest following on Instagram. I think just start chatting with them, man. And obviously building real relationships. So guys, thanks for sharing that. But the point about this is there's these mental, emotional, physical blocks, money blocks, contextual blocks. And as soon as you get this really clear vision, you start making decisions and surrendering and letting go of stuff, but then also allowing for other things into your life. I know that as soon as I started to really get clear on values, mission alignment, all that type of stuff, and letting go of the things that didn't serve that vision, it allowed space and time for this stuff as well. So I want you to be really mindful of that, because if we're not clear of what's stopping us, then we keep going around in circles. Now, I want you to write a big magic number on your page. So if you don't yet know the money that comes in, the money goes out in expenses just for you to live personally and get by, then that's something you probably want to know. If you don't know your numbers and don't know what you're living on, then you'll never know what type of energy you're circulating, right? But for me, I knew that if I made $1,000 a week, that was my breathing space. I could cover my rent, I could cover my living costs, I could cover pretty much everything that I had at the moment. I didn't have a family like Mandy. It was just me, right? So Mandy's number might be a bit bigger, but I knew that my number was $1,000, and that was my goal. So again, if you want to write this in the chat box, just write what your magic number is. And if you don't want to share it there, share it on the page. Like, just write on your own page, I mean. But know what your magic number is, because this becomes really important per week. For some, like Reese and Rach, it might be like $500 a week, which just means that they free 2 days of work, which means they get to surf and live their lifestyle the other 4 days. How sick would that be? They don't want to be like millionaires or anything at this stage. That's not where their mindset is consciously at. They're just enjoying the simplicity. So what do we got here? Okay, Trudy, $1,000 a week, so 50 grand a year would be enough. Tully, $1,500 a week through IsaBiz would cover everything you need, plus a bit of breathing space. Fib and Laura, $1,500 a week. Cool. And the cool thing about this is passive, this is residual, this is part-time income. Yeah. So you could be doing other stuff on the side, but if this could create that breathing space, it'd be pretty powerful. What else we got? Ellie, Mans. I'm interested to hear what your number is, Mans. Ellie, $1,500 a week. So we're getting some clarity, right? Because what we're going to do as well is we're going to reverse engineer, what that actually means. Like, how could you generate that amount of income per week? Because once you've got that clarity of ideal day, ideal lifestyle, and then you've got the number, then you work it backwards, then it's like, oh shit, I only need to help like 20 people. And then, if they keep ordering every month, the volume keeps coming through, and holy shit, I get 10 cycles, 20 cycles, 30 cycles, right? And then also your actions start to model with it, because you're like, okay, well, if someone comes in and they order just once and they don't reorder the next month, then I'm probably not going to get any closer to that goal. So I need to give better service and make sure that I'm really walking them through an IsoBody challenge and giving them that support so they order month 1, 2, 3, 4, and more importantly, they get the result, right? So Mandy's got $1,200. She doesn't need a millionaire. We own everything, so it'd just be living and travel money. Imagine $1,200 passive just so that you can do what you want to do, and the kids can pay for themselves. So that's pretty cool. So you've created some independent little humans. Cool. Thanks for sharing, guys. So we're shooting between the $1,000 and the $1,500 mark per week, right? So just notice that number. My number now is bigger. My number now is $13,000 a week. And it used to be $1,000 a week, and then it was $5,000 a week, and now it's $13,000 a week. So the number grows depending on the amount of impact you want to have. And I'm seeing that for me to self-fund my own startup, for me to do bigger things and have a bigger impact, I need more resources. And that just means leveraging either this vehicle or other vehicles. And the simplicity for me is there's more flow in this vehicle than there is in everything else I looked at. So it makes sense for me to shift my attention to this. Make sense? So now you've got to make that decision for yourself as well, right? So I want you, on the left is your values, your vision, and your mission and your alignment. So all that stuff you've done to get to know yourself. And if you don't know what your values are, then you're probably making decisions. Well, you know what they are, right? It's the things you think about, those crux decisions. Do you spend time with family, or do you go out drinking with friends? If your family's in crisis, obviously you look after family, right? So you know that family is one of your highest values. Food, health, right? So if you haven't done that, there's a DeMartini values test. Vision, we're talking about that now, and your mission is that reason you get out of bed in the morning, and that might be something that you come to know over time. But the thing is that the clearer you get on that, the clearer you can align with other different partnerships and visions. So who knows? Who wants to take themselves off mute and talk about what's the vision of Isagenix as an example? Who knows what their vision is? Dun, 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 dun. Who knows the vision? Come on, someone knows it.
I'll go.
Trudes, newbie. Yes.
Hi.
Go. Hey, hiya.
Good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for stepping up.
So initially what drew me to Isagenix, and it's been like in the background of my life for a long time, and Ellie's really sort of shown me, how amazing it can be in a lot of ways. But yeah, just having creating financial freedom for me to actually just have time to do my real passions. I'm a barista, so I make coffee, and I just feel like I'm always giving away my energy. I put a lot of love into it, and I want to be able to share more community, sisterhood.
I hear. So this is your vision.
The freedom to have time.
The freedom to have time. That's awesome. I love that. So time is, I'm the same. I'm chasing time. I'm not chasing money. Yeah. So that's your vision, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So do you know what the vision of Isagenix is?
No.
Interesting, right? What about the values? Does anyone know what the values are?
Health, abundance. I don't know. I haven't even looked up this.
This is crux, right? Because if you don't know your own vision and values, that's one thing, right? It's the reason why I see so many people sleepwalk and run around in circles. But then they're trying to make decisions as to whether they align with this partnership, or they go to cryptocurrency, or they do this or that, the other. And the thing is, everything's a really cool, shiny object. The thing that's going to make you stay is you're heading in the same direction. If their true north is the same as your true north, then you're heading in the same direction anyway. So then it becomes collaboration. It's not competition. And then you go, well, shit, I'm just going to help them. I'm going to, utilize the flow that they have, help them have a bigger impact. And then, I can utilize some of those resources so that I can then have a bigger impact, and then they can leverage me, and so on and so forth, right? And then it becomes this collective movement. It becomes like a tsunami in the same direction. But the thing is if you don't know the vision and values of Isagenix, then you're just going to be making a decision based on the friend that introduced you here, right? Because you're probably aligned with their vision and values.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's really cool. But you'll need to get yourself to an event, and you'll need to feel it for yourself, because you need to make a decision as to whether you are aligned with the vision, which, the vision is to impact world health. And it's also to create the most 6 and 7 figure income earners in any company or business, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got a company that wants to impact world health, and you sit there and go, well, shit, am I aligned with that? I'm like, hell yes, I'm definitely doing that. Are they doing it through food? Yeah, epic. I'm aligned with that. And then it's like a company that also, is giving. Like, they give away 50% of their profit to their people, right? And they've created more 6 and 7 figure income earners per $1 million in revenue than any other network marketing company at the moment, right? So I start to look at this and go, giving company that's actually doing it with, I think there's like over 300 6 and 7 figure income earners or something. I'll have to look at the numbers again. It just keeps growing. But the point is, it's happening, and it's there, and there's pathways. So now it's just a decision as to whether you guys are aligned with it. And the beauty about this is, when you figure out your true north and their true north, then other people can't sway your opinion, because it's like, I'm aligned with them based on something bigger, something emotional. We're heading in the same direction. So when your mates are out there drinking, alcohol, or doing drugs, or maybe they're going into the Wolf of Wall Street world, you're sitting there and you're like, that's cool, but that's not what I'm aligned with. And then you can stand up for what you believe in and where you're going. And it's not, it doesn't matter if they're heading south, you're heading north. At the end of the day, it's all going to circulate back to the same thing, and we just share that genius with the world, right? So it's not comparison. But again, I really want you guys to go explore. And if you don't know it already, go explore what Isagenix True North is, and then compare that with yours and see if you're aligned. We all cool with that? And if you don't know where to find it, Google is your best friend. Okay. Now, this is important. I keep on bringing this up as the impact meter, because, everyone's here and they're like, yeah, we've got this ideal day. I want to make $1,000, $1,500 a week. But most people haven't gone beyond impacting themselves, which is level 1. And you get stuck in self-development. You get stuck focusing on the past. You get stuck focused on healing yourself. And that is cool. That is very cool. Like, do that. Some people hold that space for 2, 3, 5 years. But the thing is, if you realize that you need to get yourself, fill your own cup first and then serve from overflow, or you can leverage the flow of others to start doing it as you're going, and then you'll find that actually serving others builds you up anyway, then you can get this thing rocking and rolling pretty quick. So ask yourself the big question, towards this ideal lifestyle, have you been able to sort your own shit out? Like, I'm going to be completely blunt. Have you sorted your own stuff out? Are you still trying to do everything by yourself? One, have you done a nice body challenge? Have you, got your rituals, your daily rituals sorted? Like, the way you show up in real life and the way you show up on social media, is that how you show up behind the scenes when no one's watching? Like, that is your biggest representation of whether you've got your shit sorted. And it's cool, because once you get in alignment with yourself, you start making decisions that serve you, and then people watch, and then people they'll start to follow. And, we've already seen it, like Tull and Cal, he's attracting all these Tarzan people, right? Because Tully, that's what he loves doing, right? I'm attracting a lot of surfers and a lot of people that have a specific lifestyle, want to live in Bali, because that's what I'm doing. So whatever it is that you do and who you want to be, just be that. And, relative to the products, make sure that you're a product of the product. Make sure if you're trying to get people to events, you're showing up to the events. Make sure that if you're trying to get people on BFREE Mondays, you're showing up on BFREE Mondays and communicating. Trude, this is the first time she's been on. She's the first one to step up and really share stuff. So, and there's been people that have been on these calls for years, and you're still sitting there and listening. So just start to think, like, when does it get beyond yourself? And when you start to share and serve other people, even in the Be Well page, like where are you sitting there like posting so that you get comments versus where are you celebrating other people's comments and other people's things? I'm starting to see there's a lot of movement through there, but where do you show up and actually start to celebrate the other crew, knowing that the energy you create in the group is then going to be the energy that is created when you add someone to the group, and then so on and so forth, right? And it becomes this really cool melting pot. And I'll be completely honest, I can tell if you haven't transcended yourself because you're still in self-development mode. And if I looked at your back office, you probably haven't helped anyone beyond yourself yet. You're just a really cool product user. You love taking all that stuff. And like I said, that's cool. But there'll become a point where you go, all right, I've got enough to take the next step. And that's where we start to look, well, how many people can I individually serve? So imagine, like, probably the best example is Jen the naturopath. She went and signed up 450 people by herself. Guess how big her downline was? It was like 500 people. So she's trying to do it all by herself. Epic. She was a naturopath, had a lot of influence, started people on the products, right? Epic. And then you had like 18-year-olds coming in with 1,000 people in their downline. They've only enrolled like 30 people. What do you think the difference was? One was able to create like influence and like, yeah, I'm the expert. Hey, I can help 450 people by myself. Takes a shit ton of energy, right? The 18 to 20-year-old was able to say, okay, well, I can help 30 people. I can leverage the community that's already got 1,000 people in it. I can leverage the naturopath that's in that group. I can leverage the physio tully or the BFREE Monday or whatever, which makes my life easier. And then all of a sudden they can leverage it and so on and so forth. That then starts to duplicate. So then all of a sudden the 20-year-old's gone on to impact 1,000 people in 6 months. And the lady that's been in this business for 3 to 4 years with more expertise than all of us put together has still only impacted 500 people. And she's getting frustrated as to why she's not making any money. And I remember the moment she got it, and she speaks openly about it, but she realized that it's all about duplication. So when people would message her and say, hey, what's in this ingredient? She wouldn't write these 4-page essays anymore. Guess what she'd do? She'd send them to isaproduct.com and say, when you find the answer, let me know. And she just got used to using the tools and keeping it really, really simple. So this is really important because you'll get to the point where, and I'll be able to tell the people that, have transcended themselves and they've started to ask the question, how many can I help? But you're still not leveraging the we. And you've probably got 10, 15, 20, maybe 100 people in your downline, right? Because you're still trying to do it by yourself. You really haven't learned the concept of leverage yet. It's not something to have a go at you, but it's like, if you really get this and you look at your own back office, you go, shit, how can I leverage better? How can I can make this simpler? Because then the next thing is we start asking the question of how many people can we collectively help? And I'm going to tell you the biggest growth I ever saw in my downline was the first time was when I plugged into Peter's community when she started. And the second was when we created the Be Well, Be Free community. And we had about 100 people or I think about 70, 80 people at Celebration in Brisbane in my downline. And if you know that on average for every person you get to a major celebration, I think it equates to about $1,000 in your business. So I'm looking at those numbers going, well, that's $80,000. Yeah, boom. What do you think happened after that? People learned to duplicate. People aligned their true north with Isagenix' true north. And then we had people in Jakarta signing up 20, 30, 40 people that I'd never met. Because the thing is, it has started to create a ripple effect, right? So you need to be the first shining light. You need to know what your true north is. You need to start to attract people. You need to start to ask the question, how many people can I help by leveraging the collective we? And then how do the collective we, which is us right now, start to create this little tsunami where, we impact 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people. And this is where we can start to look at new markets. This is where we can start to, look at getting ourselves into different areas, finding business builders rather than producers, find people that want to share, people that want to influence, not just people that want to get healthy. So what will happen is as you start to grow your consciousness with this, you'll start to transcend just yourself. Does everyone get that? Or have I gone over your head? Good? Epic. Epic. And because the last bit I want you to do, and if you haven't seen this already, I'll post this up, but this is the compensation plan. So if you've said that you want to make $1,500 a week, I'll see if I can zoom in on this. Zoom. So $1,500 a week is the equivalent of 2-star. Not even at executive. It's $56,000 to $109,000 a year. So you're limiting your potential. And that's not a bad thing, but it's like, that's knowing that's your breathing space, right? That's the bottom of that's the thing that covers your expenses and gives you the breathing space to do everything else. So you look at that and go, well, how do I get to 20 cycles? And that's your question. So what I want you to do is go explore the compensation plan with Isagenix, and I want you to figure out for yourself how you can make $1,000 to $1,500 a week. Are you guys cool with that? That's your homework, because we've talked through all this stuff. We've talked through Ideal Day. We've talked through all the vision. You've aligned yourself. You've got to this point. If you haven't aligned your true north with their true north, go explore what their vision and mission is as well. And then I want you to figure out how to reverse engineer getting to 2-star. Cool? And I want you to think about it in terms of impact. How many people do you need to impact? Is it 1 people, 10, 100, 1,000? The chances are it's probably going to be, you're probably going to want to have a downline of about 1,000 people. So it's like, how do I get there? How do I get 1,000 people in my downline? Imagine if you knew one person that was like ready to enroll 100 people, and he knew 10 other business builders. Imagine if you were able to influence that one person and get their true north aligned with his true north, and you knew that they were aligned with it. You just didn't have the balls to chat with them. Imagine if you talked to that person, and maybe you didn't have the courage to have the nous or the knowledge, but you were able to connect them with me or Tully, and we could talk to them from that space. And then all of a sudden they're in your team, and then they grow the business with you, right? So just start to think about this type of stuff. Because like you can really transcend thinking that you just have to do this by yourself. We cool? All right. So that's the next step. Figure out how you get to that magic number. And if you figure it out, when you figure it out, what I'd love you to do is post it in the BFREE group and just share how you got there. Because this is the key thing, guys, is that everything we do going forwards as BFREE is that our job is master connectors. So our job is to connect Fib with Tully, Lauren with Callum, Jem with this, right? Everything we do as threes. Are we cool with that? Yeah. And the 3 might be a tool as well. It might not necessarily be a person, but everything is done through duplication. And focus 80% of your attention on the 20% of things that's going to generate your income. And you'll know that because it generates income. If you're not generating income, you're focusing 80% of your time probably on yourself or probably on things that don't matter. So learn to pivot and shift that, because you want to find a way to get to that ideal day and that ideal lifestyle pretty quick smart, right? Imagine you get there in 6 months, 12 months, et cetera, yeah? Or you can wait the rest of your life and pretend you're going to get there without ever doing it. And I know that, none of us want to go to our graveyard with any regrets, yeah? Boom. All right, crew. Hopefully that was valuable. If it was, just take yourself off mute and share anything that might have come through. I know we've gone about 10 minutes, 15 minutes over, so I appreciate your time and feel free to shoot off as well. But big kudos from Bali, and hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, no, that was really good for me to just refresh that. Like, I haven't sat down and looked at like my ideal day for a while now. Cool to just reflect on like, oh shit, like actually I'm really close to that, and the gap for me now is having more people actually with me in it. So that was cool.
And also you might need to elevate your vision. Like if you've already got there, you might need to, like I do this with my future vision. I go through and I highlight in green what's come true, or I tick it. And then if I've done like my one from last year, I was able to highlight like 70% of it in green. That's how crazy, like none of this had yet happened. And I scripted it and I wrote it and I put it on a vision board. 70% came true. About 10 to 15% was orange. That was sort of happened. And there was like 15 to 20% that didn't happen. And didn't happen for the right reason, right? So I had to scrap that, and then I do a new vision for next year. Now you can choose your annual time that you do it. Like you can set the 10-year vision and then set it into year increments, and then just tick it off and celebrate it. Like celebrate if you did that surf trip. Celebrate if you got 2 days off work. Celebrate if you're, doing what you do. Because like I think if we get so caught up in the big vision and we're not there yet, we forget to celebrate these little steps along the way.
Big time. That's my biggest thing. Is to like celebrate all the things that I already have. Yeah, I forget all the time, but I'm sweet. I got to jump off and go to an appointment.
Yeah. Me too. I got to run as well, guys. Peace out. Thanks again for sharing. Trudy, good to see your face. Jamie, hey Lauren, haven't had a chance to chat with you, Fib, Laura, Callum, Jem. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the group. If you need anything, let us know.
Much love, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No worries. Peace out, guys.